Okay, so my poem was. Oh, whoa. Sorry about that. My poem was called "Lines Written a Few Miles Above Tintern Abbey." So quickly about the poet who wrote this, his name was William Wordsworth, and he was born in rural England. So he was born in 1770, pretty much out in the country, in the middle of nowhere. He was born in a lot of nature, and he was appointed England's poet laureate from 1843 until his name 1850. And the poet laureate is like the official like poet of the country, which is pretty cool. So he was like England's main poet. He also had a younger sister, Dorothy, who was also a poet, and we're going to hear about her later. So, before one of his prefaces to one of his books of poetry, Wordsworth said, "All good poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. But though this be true, poems to which any value can be attached were never produced on any variety of subjects but by a man who, being possessed of more than usual organic sensibility, had also thought long and deeply." So I think this is really important to to know before we go into this poem, because this poem he gets pretty deep, and he gets we'll see, it's long and deep. The significance of the title. So it's often referred to as Tintern Abbey, but that's kind of inaccurate because the poem itself does not actually happen in Tintern Abbey. It happens on the banks of the Wye River, which is shown here. So the Tintern Abbey is actually like an actual building. Okay, so although it's a very long poem, there is definitely a clear message I found. So I found the message is the most important and meaningful relationship you can make in your life is that of a strong and everlasting bond with nature. That's what I think Wordsworth is trying to say. So let's jump into it. So the poem begins with Wordsworth writing, "5 years have passed, 5 summers, with the length of 5 long winters. The day has come when I again repose here, under this dark sycamore." So I did some research, and I found out that in 1793, Wordsworth visited the Wye River, so he was 23 years old, and he went alone. In 1978, when this poem was officially written, he visited the setting once again. He writes, "Though absent long, these forms of beauty have not been to me, as is a landscape to a blind man's eye." So pretty much what he's saying is he's not a blind man. He hasn't forgotten much about this setting, about the Wye River over the past 5 years, and he still remembers how beautiful it is and how much he enjoys being there. So we can tell that he's extremely moved by nature because he really enjoys being in this place, but how much does he actually enjoy it? Okay. He writes, "Nor less, I trust, to them may I have owed another gift, of aspect more sublime, of that blessed mood in which the burthen of the mystery, in which the heavy and weary weight of all this unintelligible world is lightened." So what he's really saying is he's talking about how much nature and the environment how much of a good effect it has on him. He says he's always in a better blessed mood every time he's around nature, and he genuinely enjoys being around nature, and it has a great impact on his life, and it enhances the quality of life. I think that's what he's saying. So not only does he have a feeling and love for nature, but he puts it puts him in a better mood and enhances qualities, like I said. So he writes, "How oft in spirit have I turned to thee, O sylvan Wye? Thou wanderer through the wood, how often has my spirit turned to thee?" So in times of maybe when he's feeling sad or depressed, he can always think about his time around the Wye River and the banks of the Wye River, and it he turns to his spirit, and he always feels better as a result of that. Next he writes, "The picture of the mind revises again, while here I stand, not only with the sense of present pleasure, but with pleasing thoughts that in this moment there is life and food for the future years." So what he's saying is at this moment in time right now, he is content knowing the fact that these memories are going to almost serve as, he says, life and food for the future years. And I think so life and food, like I said, it represents these memories, and the fact that he uses the words life and food almost show how important these memories are to him, that they're so vital to him, just like life and food is in a person's life. So in referring to 5 years ago, Wordsworth said, "That time is past, and all its aching joys are now no more. For I have learned to look on to nature, not as in the hour of thoughtless youth, but hearing oftentimes the still, sad music of humanity. So 5 years ago, Wordsworth is saying that he was very excited and he just loved nature for like all its aspects and how he could look at it and he found everything very beautiful. But now he's saying like how he's grown up and matured, and now he realizes, yes, like this is all very beautiful, but he's almost senses a deeper connection. He says the sad music of humanity. He's like highlighting like the present and the current disconnect between like humans and nature, and how most humans like they don't realize how like beautiful nature is, and they don't like have this large connect with nature. So like I said, an unfortunate disconnect is seen between nature and humanity by Wordsworth, and he's almost proud of the fact that he himself has like this deep connection, and he's proud of it. So, like I said, Wordsworth feels a much deeper connect with nature, and he says, "And I have felt a presence that disturbs me with the joy of elevated thoughts, a sense of sublime, a word that he uses again in repetition, of something far more deeply infused." So he senses a really deep connection with nature. So how has he changed over the past 5 years? Well, he says, "Therefore I am still a lover of the meadows and the woods and the mountains." So he still loves all the aesthetic pleasures of nature, and he thinks it's all very beautiful. But, he says, "the anchor of my purest thoughts, the nurse, the guide, the guardian of my heart, and the soul of all my moral being is nature." I thought that was pretty cool. Like what are you doing? Okay, Wordsworth says like Wordsworth compares like a nurse, a guide, and like a guardian angel like to his heart. Like as that's what nature is. That's how important nature is to him. Like that's how big of an impact nature has had over his life. So how does this all relate back to the message? So the message, once again, I said, is the most important and meaningful relationship you can make in your life is that of a strong and everlasting bond with nature. So words like sublime and life in food and soul of all my moral being, like they kind of like describe it, and it really shows like how important nature is to him, and how big of an impact this has on his life, bigger than any impact any other relationship in his life can make. Has it been 10 minutes yet? No. Okay. Surprise! The second time around, he brought his sister. So, 5 years down the road, he brings his sister with him, and Dorothy, who is also a poet. And he says, "And in thy voice I catch the language of my former heart, and read my former pleasures in the shooting lights of thy wild eyes. Oh, yet a little while may I behold in thee what I was once, my dear, dear sister." So what he's saying is, so this is his sister's first time coming to this nature, like coming to this scene, coming to this new environment, and he sees himself in his sister's eyes. Like his sister is very excited to be here. She's taking in all this beautiful nature. She's very excited, but he senses like this is like almost superficial, and he senses that this isn't a real bond. So he writes, "If solitude or fear or pain or grief should be thy portion, with what healing thoughts of tender joy, wilt thou remember me, and this my exoneration." So what he's really saying is, if I die, when I die, I am older than you, I want you to remember the importance of a connect with nature, of a relationship with nature, because this is what I had, and this is yeah, okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. That is the end. Thank you. Yes. I mean, that's okay. I can talk some more about it. I was kind of getting distracted. Jeez. I just want to go back to how does all this relate back to the message? Oh my God.
It might be down in the English language.
No, I got it last time. It was really nice.
Okay. So how does all this relate back to the message? Like, how does the fact he brought his sister here relate back to the message? Well, the fact that he brought his sister there, he wants to show his sister how important. Can you please sit down? Jesus. How important nature is, and I'm gonna be out of time now. So yeah. That's it. The end. Thank you.